my idea that there cannot be a one-to-one translation leads to how to structure a ballet which is based on literature or a play, which means that you must see it completely new. We have to discover a central concept of a piece, a central purpose in the piece, and try to imagine how to look behind the words, how to try to find the emotion that caused the author to write that paragraph, to understand the emotion that motivated a certain line or a certain dialogue within a piece, and maybe change it. Because it's not only a question of giving us information through the text, because in pure rational, intellectual information is the hardest thing to express in ballet. But the play, as many of his plays do, have what I would call a poetic level, which means that if we read the play, we read not only the dialogue, but his stage directions. He was very clear about what were the references through sounds, through atmosphere, through the music that he chose to be played, which means that more than just simply the text and the information that it communicates, there is another level of mood, situation, and character that I find is translatable into a voiceless medium. I believe that every ballet has an inner world and an outer world. I think that the outer world of A Streetcar Named Desire is definitely American. Definitely it has to do with the southern states of America, the problems of the southern states of America. I think that the inner world is something more universally human. And so, although it was important for me to have visited New Orleans to research and to try to get the atmosphere and the flavor of that particular country and that part of the country into the sets and the costumes, the music I chose happens to be Russian, which is a little strange. I think that the first part, which deals with a part of the play we haven't seen, if we only have seen the play, of Blanche's early life, her marriage, is from Prokofiev's Vision Fugitive, which are a series of short piano pieces, very atmospheric, very nostalgic, very almost in the romantic sense. But the second part is also a Russian composer called Alfred Schnittke. His music, I had used his music for other works that I'd done, and I wished to hear all of his music. I listened to a part of his first symphony, and after hearing 3 minutes of it, I was convinced that it was the absolute right, correct, perfect music for Streetcar Named Desire. Had my assistant call the publishing house, and after listening to it, it turned out to be quite incredible, because when you see the ballet, you believe that either this music was written measure for measure for the ballet, or that I had somehow manipulated it, because it has a very fragmentary, a very collage-like construction, which suits perfectly the style of the choreography that I chose. I decided that without knowing Blanche's situation before the actual play begins, we cannot understand the conflict or the torturous situation that she is in as she visits her sister in New Orleans. So for me, the ballet begins, in a sense, at the end of the line, when she is in the insane asylum, begins with her memories also of these encounters with different strange men who gave a certain comfort to her life, trying to hold up this plantation house which was falling apart with dying relatives on all sides, as she explains. And I think that the two-part structure is extremely important, that we have, in a sense, a long prologue to the piece in the first act called Belle, her life before she tries to find some possibility of living in New Orleans, and then the effect of a completely different music, a completely different choreographic structure, a completely different dynamic in the second part. And we have to understand that we are always seeing the piece, hearing the music, experiencing the choreography as Blanche did.